welcome to Foxonomics. I'm Marissa Aiuto.
And I'm Brianna Tierney. Tonight we're going to take an in-depth look at the current state of our economy, looking at real gross domestic product percentages, unemployment rates, consumer price indexes, business cycles, consumer measures, and implementations to improve our economy with a statement from President Barack Obama. We have a lot to cover, so let's get down to business.
We will first take a look at gross domestic product percentages, or GDP. In 2009, the output was pretty high, staying above 2% in the second through the fourth quarter. 2010, the total output percentage maintained a stable level at an average of about 3%. 2011, the GDP dropped to negative 1.5%, but there was many drastic highs and lows throughout the year. 2012, the GDP digressed to almost 0%. Things are looking up because in 2013, there are some improvements. The output is gradually increasing from quarter to quarter. Overall, the trends seem to be unpredictable based on the past years. The drastic drops and peaking percentage changes in the past years appear to be over, and a more reliable gradual increase is occurring currently. However, until further data shows a continual increase in the GDP percentage, we cannot be sure this trend will continue.
The real GDP, adjusted for inflation, has shown an upward trend the past 3 years. There has been a gradual increase in the quantity index, which represents an increase in the amount of goods purchased in the economy.
Personal consumption, the largest component of GDP, has seen a gradual increase since 2011. The increase in consumption implies a positive improvement in the economy and suggests that consumers' income levels are rising, allowing for an increase in purchase of goods and services.
Investment has also seen an increase, which means interest rates have declined, which lead to a decrease in the cost of investment, which has led to an increase in investment. More investments lead to an improving economy.
So government consumption has slightly decreased over the past 3 years, but not drastically. This is important to overall GDP because it implies more money being put into the economy through the government, paying people for performing jobs and services as well as producing goods. And increasing government spending results in a stimulated economy. A very slight decrease in government spending does not imply a negativity in GDP or the economy as a whole.
Net exports of goods and services in the past 3 years has been increasing and has maintained a positive amount. There was a low point in net exports in 2012 that may strike some concern, but there has been more increase in the early releases of 2012. A positive number of net exports means overall price level in the U.S. This means that prices for the goods produced in the U.S. are lower compared to prices in other countries. People are buying more U.S. produced goods and fewer foreign goods, which has increased the real GDP in the U.S. economy.
Taking a step closer, let's look at the details of the GDP increases we've seen. GDP increased in 49 states. Durable goods manufacturing proved to be the largest contributor to U.S. real GDP in 22 states, especially Oregon with an 8.7% increase and Indiana with a 1.7% increase. Finance and insurance were leading contributors to growth in the Mid-East region. Wholesale trade contributed to real GDP growth in 48 states. North Dakota was the fastest growing state in 2012, with mining contributing a 3.26% increase in real GDP. Agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting subtracted from real GDP growth in 6 of 8 regions.
Now let's take a look at the latest trends in unemployment. The overall unemployment rate is currently 7.3%, a drop of 0.5 since last October. The rates drastically increased from 2008 to 2010 when the brunt of the economic recession hit. American jobs, and there has been a decrease in unemployment in the most recent years. Among the major worker groups this year, there has seen little to no change in the unemployment percentage. The number of long-term unemployed workers has declined by 954,000 since the beginning of this year. Leisure and hospitality employment has increased by 53,000 in October. Employment in retail trade increased by 44,000 compared with the prior 12-month gain of 31,000. Healthcare has increased by over 15,000. With all of this, we can see an upturn in unemployment within the U.S. economy. However, more jobs need to be available for those struggling with only part-time employment as well as unemployment.
Inflation rates, the consumer price index level, has been somewhat stabilized over the past 3 years. Back in 2009, when the recession hit full force, the CPI dropped drastically. The levels have bounced back and have maintained a steady rate since. Currently, in 2013, the CPI is lower than usual, but trends prove that even when the CPI drops slightly, an upturn is soon to come. Now let's take a look at the current business cycle. The last business cycle began expansion in 2009, which is the most recent decision of the Business Cycle Dating Committee of the National Bureau of Economic Research. The committee determined that a trough in business activity occurred in the U.S. economy in June 2009. The previous recession lasted 18 months, which made it the longest recession since World War II. That means we are currently in a slow process of expansion since 2009.
The degree of optimism on the state of the economy that consumers express through activities of saving and spending. The Consumer Confidence Index decreased sharply in October and declined again in November. Those claiming business conditions are good increased to 19.9% from 19.5%, while those claiming business conditions are bad increased from 25.2% from previously 23%. Those saying jobs are plentiful increased to 11.8% from 11.6%, while those saying jobs are hard to get decreased to 34% from 34.9%. The consumer confidence has decreased this year. However, their confidence in availability of jobs has increased. Hopefully, in the next few years, the economy will continue to grow and restore confidence in our consumers. Now let's take a look at the confidence level consumers and this past weekend while holiday shopping.
Did you get online to do some holiday shopping yesterday? If so, you were one of the people that helped sales jump more than 20% compared to last year, making it the biggest online shopping day in history. ComScore says Cyber Monday sales totaled $2 billion. That's more than the number we were expecting going in. A lot of people chose to do their buying on the go, with the number of shoppers making purchases on mobile devices rising more than 50%. Some of the most popular products: toys, tablets, clothing, and video game consoles. In fact, we just learned today that PlayStation 4 sales officially topped the 2 million mark, and they've only been on sale in the U.S. for 2 weeks. Experts say retailers may have learned a big lesson this year to keep more of their focus on cyber sales. I'm Allison Cossack in New York.
So, as you can see, they say that the confidence level in consumers isn't really that high, but so many people are running out. More people than ever are coming out to shop on Black Friday, and especially Cyber Monday now.
Yes.
So I don't know, what does this all mean? Do you feel like that they're gaining their confidence back now?
I do agree with that. I think that, although these numbers say that the consumer confidence has gone down, the numbers are still incredibly high, and these people are still going out at early hours of the morning to get great sales. Right. So they are pretty confident, I think, where their money's going and the importance of, I guess, all the holiday savings and everything. So I think that's, a big help towards the economy is these days.
These stimulating the economy these days. So after all this discussion of the current state of the economy, let's see what President Obama has to say about his implementations and plans to continue the growth in the economy.
There are some good things happening in our economy, and that's been my top priority since the day I walked into the Oval Office. After decades in which the middle class was working harder and harder just to keep up, and a punishing recession that made it worse, we made the tough choices required not just to recover from the crisis, but to rebuild on a new foundation for stronger, more durable economic growth. 5 years later, we fought our way back. Our businesses have created 7.8 million new jobs in the past 44 months. Another 200,000 Americans went back to work last month. The American auto industry has come roaring back with more than 350,000 new jobs. Jobs churning out and selling the high-tech, fuel-efficient cars the world wants to buy. And they're leading the charge in a manufacturing sector that has added jobs for the first time since the 1990s. A big reason why our businesses sell more goods and services made in America than ever before. We decided to reverse our addiction to foreign oil, and today we generate more renewable energy than ever, more natural gas than anybody. And for the first time in nearly 20 years, America now produces more oil than we buy from other countries. We decided to fix a broken healthcare system, and even though the rollout of the marketplace where you can buy affordable plans has been rough, so far about 500,000 Americans are poised to gain health coverage starting January 1st. And by the way, healthcare costs are growing at the slowest rate in 50 years. One more thing. Since I took office, we've cut our deficits by more than half. And that makes it easier to invest in the things that create jobs: education, research, and infrastructure. Imagine how much farther along we could be if both parties were working together. Think about what we could do if a reckless few didn't hold the economy hostage every few months, or waste time on dozens of votes to repeal the Affordable Care Act rather than try to help us fix it. In the weeks ahead, I'll keep talking about my plan to build a better bargain for the middle class. Good jobs, a good education, a chance to buy a home, save, and retire. And yes, the financial security of affordable health care. And I'll look for any willing partners who want to help. Because of your hard work and tough sacrifices over the past 5 years, we're pointed in the right direction. But we've got more work to do to keep moving that way. And as long as I'm president, I'll keep doing everything I can to create jobs, grow the economy, and make sure that everyone who works hard has a chance to get ahead.
Some of the main points Obama was trying to make in this address include: we've created over 6 million new jobs. We now buy more American cars than we have in the past 5 years, and we are using less foreign oil than we have in 20 years. The housing market is also improving, and we are starting to see some positivity for the future of the economy.
So what do you think about the current state of the economy? I mean, we saw that GDP is on the rise, CPI.
Absolutely.
I mean, in all the different aspects of real GDP, like they're all improving. They're all
Yes, absolutely.
increasing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like all these graphs do show, like the graphs that we have just shown, they do definitely show, and obviously we were just previously in a really bad recession. And I think it took a few years, to really heal the wounds almost of how horrible that was a time for our country.
Right.
And I think everyone will agree with that. But I think, President Obama has done has made some many great, implementations to, really try to get us out of that, deep hole that we were in.
Right.
And I think that, we're not fully out of it yet, but there's definitely
Statistics are proving.
Yes.
There's hope for us in the
Absolutely.
economy. I definitely see it. It's all there right in front of us.
Yep. It may take a couple more years, but I think that it's definitely looking positive for the future years. So
it's all good things.
Yeah.
So that's all that we have time for this edition of Foxonomics. Until next time, I'm Marissa Aiuto.
And I'm Brianna Tierney.
Thanks for watching.
Have a good night.